hurts to see her like this. Hate seeing it like this. I feel like the world's worst Corvette owner, specifically C6 Z06 Corvette owner. If you guys are new to the channel, might not even know about this car because it hasn't been on the channel for well over a year at this point. I think the last video I did on it was when I built a custom catback exhaust for this thing, and that was like last August. The reason that the car looks like this is because I've barely driven it this year. I think I took it to the gym one day in June, which is like 3 miles away, and then washed it up and took it to Cars and Coffee in August, which is also like 3 miles away. That's it. I think one other time I started it up in like early June to clean up and wash out the garage, and that's it. But then on the drive home, I was monitoring battery voltage and it was at like 11.7 volts while driving, which basically tells me that the alternator was not charging. So I got it home, parked it right here without a cover on it, and has been sitting right here since through various fabrication projects, collecting dust, and just rotting away, for lack of a better term. Then when I had the paint booth set up, I lazily put a piece of plastic over it, which kind of smeared all the dust around. Really good for your paint, so follow me for more paint tips. But it is now almost January, and even though I haven't driven it at all, I think it's time we get this thing ready to hibernate for the winter, the next few months anyways. So I got a couple things I'd like to do. First of all, we got to diagnose an alternator. Definitely need to wash it, so if I do throw the cover on it, we're not marring the paint at all. Maybe drain the fuel out of it, because the fuel is definitely from early 2023 best case scenario at this point, and it's almost 2025. Save that for snowblower gas or something, but let's see if this thing starts. We can maybe diagnose the alternator, get it washed, and we'll go from there. Shout out to the viewer of the channel that sent me this Louisiana Loves Beer Miller Lite sign. I think the guy's got a liquor store or something in Louisiana. Wrote me a handwritten note. Oh, this thing's warming up. Shout out to all you guys that send me stuff. I love hearing from you. I love getting stuff like that. So you guys are the best. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve and it is like 55 degrees, sunny out. The car's starting to condensate. The garage floor is starting to condensate. Oh! We still have an oil leak in this thing? Add that to the list. Yeah, condensating already. But yeah, see, look at this. 13 volts right now. We'll see what happens once it gets warm, but 12.7 I saw there. We should be well above 14 right now, I would think. How much fuel we got in this thing? A little under half a tank. Might undo it at the rails here and drain that out. That's what happens when it's 44 degrees in the garage and 56 degrees outside. You got a cold slab of concrete. Now everything that's metal in here is going to start condensating. Awesome. I'm going to take advantage of this warm weather today. I think we're going to transition to a little bit of a vlog style video here. I want to power wash and clean the garage floors. I try to do that twice a year around here, usually in the spring, which was like the last time the Corvette was out. And then once before, before the winter, before it's too cold to do it for 3, ish or more months. Clearly we've got some sort of charging issue with the C6. We're down to about 10.5 volts. So something's wrong there. This is the original alternator that I spray bombed black back in the day. Wow, that's hot. Why did I do that? Idiot. Anyways, alternator appears to be bad. And the reason I haven't got one yet is because apparently anything you get at the parts store is like a C5 alternator, is what I've heard, where it has the C5 regulator on it, and they fail in like a day. So I could get a new one on Rock Auto. I think they're like $600 even on Rock Auto, which is crazy. So I'm gonna do a little research, see what the internet thinks I should do on an alternator for this thing, and we'll get one on order. But it looks like we also have an oil leak we need to take care of that I think I've been chasing this oil leak for like 2 years, but maybe we need to investigate a little bit further. Unfortunately, it looks like we also have to burn the garage down because, ugh. All right, at least he's dead, but whatever that thing is under here. But I'd like to get the garage floor clean, as I was saying. Get a little bit of work to potentially do to the 69 Camaro. You can see the trunk lid is open. I'll get to that in a little bit. C8 is under the cover. I don't think we'll touch that in this video, but either way, yeah, I'm gonna stay focused right now while we still got daylight. I'm gonna get all these cars out. Ben's I'm waiting on parts for, so I'll just raise that up in the air. We'll quickly wash under it. Now that is more like it. Shoo! When it looks as bad as it did for as long as it did, you forget how good it looks when it's actually clean and you fall right back in love with it. Well guys, it has once again been quite a few days since well not too, like 4 or 5 days since I filmed, you know, whatever the start of this video was. But the C6 is clean. More importantly, the garage is basically spotless. I've since started another project. Got the Trans Am WS6 hiding out there. Mercedes is still on the lift. Got the Camaro on the charger here. I did order an alternator for this thing, as you guys saw in the B-roll. We weren't charging. So I ordered an alternator from this thing. I'll have more details on that later when it comes in, hopefully in a few days. And we will actually work on this thing for the first time in over a year. And we'll see if the weather cooperates. It's January in southern New Hampshire right now. We're kind of lucky right now in that we got some snow, but then some rain that washed away the salt, and now it's dry. But who knows what could happen in the next few days while we wait for that alternator. But we will see. In the meantime, the quick jacks are out. Which way am I going here? The quick jacks are out. Got some stuff I want to do to the Camaro. If I look at the whiteboard, there's two things on here that I kind of want to tackle right away. First one is these rotor hats. Ugh. Looking like these things are off the Titanic. I'm always so cheap when I order parts. When I ordered these C6 rotors from Rock Auto, you of course have the option to get the zinc plated ones that won't do that. And me, I'm always like, you don't need that. And then that happens every time. So you guys know the deal. I'd like to pull the wheels off, mask off the brake pad area, get these painted in like a flat black so we don't have to look at that rusty mess behind the beautiful Weld Ventura wheels there. So that's one. The rears are all set. They're Willwoods from, you know, how I got the car. The other thing on the list there is I'd like to just double check the ride height and double check the suspension. Don't mind the heater coming on. It's freezing cold outside. If you guys recall, earlier this year or about a year ago, I did a full QA1 suspension on this thing, front and rear, and slammed it right down on the ground. And a couple times, like on the highway, hitting big bumps, something has been rubbing in the rear, and I'm not sure what it is yet. So I just want to double check the ride height, make sure we're level at all four corners, make any adjustments we need to on the coilovers, and you know, make sure nothing's rubbing, and then we'll go from there. So let's start with that. We'll see how much we get done tonight, and before this alternator shows up, and yeah, we'll just piecemeal this video together over however much time I have. right, couple things crossed off the list that I've wanted to get done for quite some time on this thing. Most of the summer, actually, it was bothering me. No more rusty rotor hats. Looks much better back there. Quick, pretty easy job. Had to let them cure overnight, actually, because it's like 45 degrees in the garage, like 10 degrees outside with 40-mile-an-hour winds. So paint wasn't going to be curing anytime fast, but we're good on there. Back here, we got some stable in the tank, so we are ready for winter hibernating. Also, one other thing on the list that I wanted to show you guys. Some of you may have seen it on there. I just noticed this like a week or so ago. Is trunk leak, which is when the car was outside for like one night, when I think either the Trans Am or the Mercedes was inside. Well, first of all, I noticed this, like rust water that seemed to be coming down here and then like gathering on the taillight. So that was my first indicator. And then I came in here and the trunk floor or the carpet here was sopping wet. So obviously I, let this dry out for a few days. It's all good and dry now, and I am not going to have the car outside until I figure this out. But I think I've got, I don't know, a leak somewhere in the weather stripping here, I guess. Maybe up here, that is causing water to leak into the trunk. I'm not sure the best way to figure out how it's getting in. I'm thinking about maybe putting like my GoPro or something in here and then running a hose over it. Or I guess I could take this partition out and like lay in the car while someone runs a hose over it, figure out where it's coming in. But it is winter, and I'm not doing anything with a garden hose until it is above like at least 40 degrees, which according to the forecast is not going to be a while. So the 69 Camaro will stay nestled in the garage until I figure that out, but hopefully something stupid like a seal or something. But if you guys have any ideas, let me know. Inside the car here, you guys saw me messing with the Holley system a little bit. I think I got my reverse lockout working properly. Before I'd have to kind of muscle through over into reverse, but I configured an output. I had already had this wired up like years ago, but I finally messed with an output and configured the software so that hopefully when the key is on and the car is under 0 miles per hour, yeah, we can easily get over into reverse there. The real test will be, does the reverse lockout work? I think I had it set to above like 5 miles an hour. So hopefully, the reverse lockout works, allows me into reverse easily under 5 miles an hour, and then above 5 miles an hour, it locks it out so I don't shift into reverse on the highway. That'd be cool. Also, check the ride height all around. We are basically perfectly level, which is perfect, and also just a tiny bit of rake with the front being a tiny bit lower than the rear, which is exactly the stance that I love on a car like this. As far as rubbing, I think our culprit is here. You guys who have been following this build know that I rolled the fenders. This is a 285 tire on my non-tubbed 1969 Camaro. So the fitment is really, really tight. I think I might need to roll that fender just a hair more, but I'm not too terribly worried about it because it was really only happening when I hit big bumps, and I got plans for this thing. Now that we make all of this power with this cammed full bolt-on LS3, over 500 to the tire to be specific, this thing's an animal. It's an absolute animal. It's a ton of fun to drive, but it still has that puny 10-bolt non-posi that this car came with when I bought it, when it had a 307 small block and a TH350 and made about 180 horsepower. And that is really the last thing that this car needs to be, a true pro touring and full build, is a rear end upgrade. And I think that a 9-inch Ford would go nicely under there. But if I'm spending the money on a 9-inch Ford, I want it to be the proper width for when I eventually want to mini tub the car. But I certainly don't want to order 2 9-inch Fords, so I think it's probably time we also mini tub the car, both of which are kind of a big undertaking. But this might finally be the winter we do this. This car really, I think, deserves it. We can't be having something that looks like this, that sounds like this, and that makes all that power, doing one tire fires. Or not even really being able to do a proper burnout. It's embarrassing. Damn it. So we'll get to that. In the meantime, I'm still waiting on the alternator for the C6 Z06, but I got a couple things I'd like to do to get it ready for winter hibernation. I'd like to see what's going on with that oil leak and just get it up in the air and check a few things out. So let's plug away at this while we wait. Cold out today. Got her up in the air. Always a challenge with this car. By far my lowest vehicle, this one right here. You know, under these side skirts, like less than 2 inches of ground clearance. Same thing with the ZR1 style front splitter up there, but let's get under there and take a look. So, where is that oil leak? I'm pretending like I don't already know. It's right there. Right off the oil return. Basically, I got a turbo in each fender, and then my oil return kind of goes through here, comes up to a T, comes up to this scavenge pump, and then gets pumped back in to the oil pan right there. And it is basically leaked from here since I finished the turbo kit. And I've tried, even in multiple videos, I think, to fix this issue, and just can't seem to get it licked. And what is a pain about this is you can't see it. These Corvettes use this transverse leaf spring, basically as a spring. There's no spring over here on the shock, so access to the oil pan is extremely limited. Every time I take this off, I have to use a crow's foot and stick 17 extensions through here. And I can't see if the fitting is damaged or where the leak path is, but it gets everywhere. All over the oil pan, you know, all onto these fittings here, and then obviously all over the garage floor. It's just in a couple days since it's been sitting here, so I would really like to get this fixed. But I'm kind of tired of trying to fix it like this, so we're at a crossroads here. Ideally, I think I need to get a good look at that fitting. Maybe I damaged that AN fitting when I welded it onto the pan. Maybe it's warped or something. I think I honestly will have to go back and look at the videos. I think I replaced the AN fitting itself. I've tightened it up. I've probably over tightened it. I've tried going less on the torque. I even tried these little Earl's fitting things that are supposed to seal AN fittings, and it just always leaks. So I'd like to get a better look at it and see what might be going on. In order to do that, I really need to remove the front leaf spring, and that's not an easy task on the C6. So I'm wondering, should we just do like coilovers on this thing? You know, really be able to dial in the stance, maybe get us some better traction. You know, is this a good opportunity to upgrade the front suspension? And then maybe while we're at it, I suppose, do the rear too? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. The whole purpose of this video is like, what have I been doing with this thing? And the answer is nothing. So I'm kind of torn. Like, do I keep putting money into it? Maybe that will make me drive it more. I don't know. Right now it's winter, so it's not going out right now, but do we put some more money into it? Anyways, let's talk about the money I already just put into it. Brand new alternator just showed up. I did a little bit of research and found a couple different companies out there. The one that I went with was Tucson Alternator, not sponsored, had to pay with this or for this with my own money, and it was not cheap. This was like almost $500, I think, but this is an upgraded 240 amp alternator. It's made right here in the USA, in Arizona, actually. The customer service was really good. I believe the alternator brand is Pure Power. But basically this was the same price as Rock Auto even wanted for a replacement bone stock Delphi GM C6 alternator, which, you know, I guess it worked fine for 20,000 miles, but who wants to put stock stuff back on their vehicle? They had a bunch of different colors you could get. The case powder coated in. I just went with flat black because it's stealth and kind of goes with my engine bay. We got like a performance report here at various different RPMs and, you know, some basic installation instructions, but it should be pretty easy on the C6. But yeah, I think it's time we get the new alternator installed. Should be pretty easy if I remember right. I haven't had it off. Let me in here. Come on. Thankfully on these C6s, unlike a lot of vehicles, the alternator is quite literally one of the highest things on the vehicle. So we should be able to just get the tensioner, undo this bolt here. There's another one down there. Positive cable there. Electrical connector. Bada bing, bada boom. Get this spray bombed one out of there that, you know, did fine for 20 years or 15 years, whatever it's been, but time for an upgrade. So I'm also going to throw the battery charger on. I want to make sure the battery is fully charged before we fire it up with the new alternator. In the meantime, I think I'm going to lower this thing down a little bit so I have better access, and let's get it swapped.
Cold morning to test the alternator. Let that stable circulate. America.
Well, we are ending this video the exact same way that we started with my C6 Z06 under the cover. Good news is we got a lot done in this video. We successfully started this thing and backed it out of the garage 3 times. In all seriousness though, guys, this is how it goes sometimes. This is not, I didn't intend to only put 12 miles on this thing this summer, but just got busy with the other cars, and then in the middle of the summer it crapped out an alternator, and then it just kind of sat here and I just was lazy about ordering a new one. In a simpler time, when I first got this car back in 2016, I only had 3 cars: the Corvette, my $500 Saturn daily driver, and my Harley F250 Power Stroke diesel. So I used the daily driver to daily drive, the truck for truck stuff, and this was my fun car. So after work I'd hop in this thing as much as I could, and I drove it like 5,000 miles that first summer. Since then, and this is a real first world problem, and I'm so thankful for everything that I have, but I've acquired a lot more cars, I've acquired a YouTube channel, and I've acquired just a lot more in general responsibilities. Newborn child, to name one right now. Point being, I tend to lean towards doing work after work instead of enjoying the toys that I have. And I'm really trying to break that habit. And every year I say I'm gonna drive them more, but I always end up driving them less. So that's what happened to this car this summer. And every time I'm like, wow, I should sell this thing, I never drive it. I get in it one time and that thought just goes out the window. There's nothing on the road that looks as menacing as this thing, all blacked out, slammed down on a custom forged set. 20-inch wheels, ZR6X wide body, not to mention, 1100 horsepower, twin turbos, built everything. It's just a nasty C6 Z06. There's no way around it. I love it. So I don't know. Do I sell it? Do I continue to mod it and keep it? Do we get those drag wheels on this thing? See what this thing can do at the track next spring? Maybe get one of those draggies, see what it does 60 to 130. At least now I know the alternator is all set. This thing's clean. It's got fresh fuel. It's got stable in it. It's good to go other than that oil leak that, maybe we'll knock that out with some more mods. So thank you guys for watching this kind of vlog style video as I knock some random projects out in the garage. Catch you in the next one. Ooh, beer.